Hey guys, this is Joe from Walk with God, and I've really been wondering for the past few months, why do Christians argue so much? I'm not going to pretend like I have a magic bullet answer for this because there's a few answers and it's different in every single case, but I do want to read to you guys James 1:19. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Does this describe the way we see Christians with different viewpoints on things discourse with one another? Because I can tell you, the world does see us as just another religion when we act like this. They think that when we argue like this, all we're doing is feeding our own egos because that's what they do when they argue. And sadly, this is often why we do argue, because our pride doesn't allow us to just state our point and move on even when someone says they don't agree, because we just feel like we need to be right. The way us Christians are so quick to criticize online and so quick to respond in ways that are so worldly is absolutely ridiculous. Because biblically, we have a much higher calling to discourse and discuss and act in love than the way that we see happening online right now. Right now, most Christian YouTube channels are the ones that are calling out false teachers or calling out teachers they don't agree with, responding to comments and replies, doing so much reacting to people. And it's good to have an idea of what's going on, don't get me wrong. But imagine if the people who did that just put some of that time into trying to unify with these people they disagree with. Imagine if they put just some of that time into trying to help unify an extremely divided church.
Just a little note here, working towards unity does not mean that you or the other person have to change your views. It is fully possible to work with someone you don't agree with for a bigger cause.
Speaking in truth and love, encouraging one another, edifying one another, doing the things that are mentioned far more than calling out people who we disagree with. Mentioned more often in the Bible, just for clarity's sake. See, I have learned that it is possible to have a scripturally correct premise, but still sin because you're not abiding in Christ when you respond in a way that feeds your own ego. Because that's not just sin against the person you're disagreeing with, that is sin against the one who saved you from the sin that you are supposed to be avoiding, but that you are giving into when you are not being gentle and when you are being angry towards a brother or sister in Christ. I recently had the privilege of meeting someone who grew up in a church that actually completely broke up. They're still traumatized from this, and they're still having a hard time getting into actual community because this affected them so much. This is years later, and this person is coming to tears talking about this. We don't realize how much our divisions hurt people around us. Listen to Ephesians 4, verses 1-3. Paul says, I, therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. I'm sorry, this does not sound like the modern church at all to me. Listen to Jesus' prayer in John 17, verses 19-21. And for their sake I consecrate myself, that they also may be sanctified in truth. I do not ask for these only, but also for those who will believe in me through their word, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, that they may also be in us, so that the world may believe you have sent me. Our unity is a crucial part to proving to the world that we are in Christ and that Christ is real. Francis Chan recently got to go to Burma and actually see faith healing be done and actually got to do faith healing. You want to know how that came about? He set aside his pride. The other leaders he was working with, who had some very conflicting viewpoints on some topics that really divide people, they set aside their pride too. And if they had just given into their egos and argued like every other time in the past, people would not have been healed. People who were deaf would still be unable to hear. A woman with a serious head injury and extreme pain would still have extreme pain and still have extreme swelling from the injury. Both of those things were cured in this woman because of the unity But more importantly, these people wouldn't know who Jesus is. So how do we stop arguing and unify? I'm going to give some practical suggestions in the next video. So stick around for part 2. And in part 3, I'm going to have someone on who's going to talk about some amazing things that his church was able to do when they unified with other local churches and set aside their differences. And also what it looked like practically to set aside differences for them. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you stick around for part 2. This topic is really near and dear to my heart. So guys, check out my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Anchor, all linked below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a blessed day or a blessed night. Thank you again for watching.